Hey guys, my name is Chantel. Welcome back to my channel and thanks for hanging out with me today. So we are going to talk about Haikyuu to the top episode 19. So we are back to talking about the Inarizaki match, which oh man, I've been waiting to see some parts of this like animated and I can't wait for next week's episode, which I'll dive into as we go on to the episode. But for now, let's just start from the beginning. So let's talk about our boy Nishinoya. So in the beginning of this episode, we have Atsumu targeting Nishinoya, and it seems like everyone else starts to realize that. And it's like, uh-oh, this isn't good, because you can see just Nishinoya trying to keep calm, but also you can kind of see like the frustration build little by little as the match goes on. And he just can't receive Atsumu's serves, and he's trying his best. Like, you can tell he's trying really hard to receive them, but it just doesn't happen, which can cause a lot of pressure for Nishinoya, which is also why I'm glad that Suguro, again, why I love this character and why he's so important in this match, even though he's just like a person in the crowd. He explains exactly what it can do to the team and how it could affect a team that their libero isn't doing so well. And basically the whole gist of that was, he says that Karasuno will start to think, well, if he can't receive them, how the hell am I going to? So that's like their biggest thing that they gotta overcome. And Nishinoya, again, like I said, is super duper frustrated to the point where he starts doing like his little finger push-ups to try and keep himself calm. And oh my gosh, it's really hard to see Nishinoya like this, to the point where Asahi even starts to ask himself, like, what do I do in this situation? He's always cheered me up whenever I'm down. And that's very much true. He's always been like the person to lift up everybody in tough situations where things seems to be going really bad, or Kurasuno seems to lose a little bit of hope. Nishinoya is always there to save the day and cheering everyone up. And it's like, don't worry about it, guys. Like, we can do this, and you guys have me. I'll back you up. Don't worry. But now this time is different. Nishinoya is super quiet and calm, and this is like the first time for him. And it's really frustrating, because it's also something that Suguru had said before, is that if you can't receive, then it's not gonna go anywhere. And oh my gosh, so as someone who's read the manga, this was so frustrating to see, and so hard to see Nishinoya like this, because I couldn't help but root for him and hope for the best for my boy Nishinoya. Like, I love him so much, to see like this different side of him, this change is just a lot. Also, I have to mention, my gosh, the OST that plays with Nishinoya during this whole entire thing is just like so intense, and I feel like it adds more to the pressure and how intense it is and how like the atmosphere is feeling, which is also why I love the OST for Haikyuu. Like, it's always just like top tier quality in my opinion. And I guess the next thing that I do want to mention, which is, again, we did get a little bit of a rough patch with like the, I guess, art style, because like I said, it's not so much the animation. I don't know how else to call it. I hate pointing it out, but it's there for like a few minutes, like few seconds. It goes by fast, so to the point where, like, I don't mind it. It was fine. It was better than, the episode that we saw earlier, which again, I completely understand why this was done. We are in a pandemic. Everything is going crazy in the world, so I completely understand. So I know everyone, the staff, is trying their hardest to keep the quality as best as they can. But at the same time, it's kind of, like, as a manga reader, it kind of sucks, because this is also like one of the things that's like I have anticipated for a long time. So to see like the quality drop sometimes, I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks. But at the same time, I'm like, I get it. If it was like under different circumstances, like, I'm pretty sure it would have been like top tier quality animation. But because we are in a pandemic, it's fine. It's fine. Like I said, I completely understand. And again, the rest of the episode makes up for it. So again, I don't really mind. So moving on to the next point that I do want to say is, oh my gosh, can we talk about Atsumu when he has like this child, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, he's just so happy when he calls Nishinoya like really cool. Because obviously he's trying to put pressure on Nishinoya, but to see like how Nishinoya is not willing to back down just yet, and he's trying his hardest to maintain his cool, like, Atsumu is completely impressed. Like, I don't know, seeing Atsumu like so happy and giddy made me like really happy, and just goes to show you just how much he loves volleyball. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out because it's one of the things that I love about my boy. Anyway, moving on to the next thing I want to talk about, which I was so excited to see, which was our boy Suna. So you anime onlys finally got to see our boy Suna in action. Not what I expected, but it was a really cool shot that they did where the camera kind of flips and you just see Suna's face. So you don't really get to see like what exactly happened, but I'm glad that like the old fanboys of Suna, like the old men, they're just gushing about Suna, and like he's just like, oh, I can explain what happened just now. And basically they explain like what exactly happened there with Suna, and basically like gist of it is that he can use like his whole core to change the course of the ball as he's like spiking it and stuff. So it's really impressive that Suna can do that, but also it's like, it just makes the whole match really intense when you see Suna like this. And then you do get to see like how he does it later on, like they animate to see like how he moves his body and stuff, and I'm just like, there it is, there's the thing that I wanted to see from the manga. Like the way that Suna moves is like so cool, but at the same time seeing it in the manga for the first time, I was like, oh my god, that's so creepy, but it's like so cool. And I'm gushing about Suna a little bit too much. And another cool thing about Suna is he can control the blockers. And I was so pumped to see this in the anime today. Like, oh my gosh, I was just so excited, and it was great. So basically, how Suna is able to control the blockers is he's able to do like a feint and make the blockers believe that he's gonna go for this, when instead he does something else, and he uses his whole body to change the course. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like that is rough, especially for our boy Tsukishima. My boy Tsukishima, I felt so bad for him too. I was like, like Tsukishima's trying and he knows like what's gonna happen next and how to react, and you know, he falls into Suna's trap, which then I love how Atsumu starts to say, you know, that the better the blocker, the better and easier it is for Suna to take control of it. And I'm like, oh, that's gotta suck for my boy Suki. And obviously he's frustrated about this. So now Tsukishima has to figure out how to overcome Suna. So our boy Suki's gotta come up with a game plan regarding with Suna to see how he can, you know, get his blocks to work against Suna. Next boy I do want to talk about is Aran. So I'm so excited and happy to see like how beautifully and coolly animated. I know coolly isn't like a word, but bear with me anyway. It was just so nicely animated how they did Aran's spike. Like it was just so beautiful. Like I was in awe. I had to replay that scene like a couple times because I was just like blown away how they did that. Like it was just so beautiful. And there's a few other ones that were really nicely animated, which I'll talk about later, but my gosh, Aran is so freaking amazing and awesome. Like I already knew this as someone who's read the manga, but seeing it animated is just so cool. And I hope you anime onlys really love like Aran. Like Aran is amazingly great. He's the best. He is best boy. That is all I'm gonna say. Like he's the best, okay? Like the way that he's been playing doesn't convince you. I don't know what else, you know, can convince you. And on top of that, even Saiko Nesan also mentions like, man, Aran kind of reminds me of Ushiwaka, the way that he plays. And I like that Shimada mentions like, well, yeah, but also they have like their differences because Aran is able to receive the serves, which in turn can tire him out, which is what Karasuno is hoping to achieve. They're trying to tire him out the best as they can, so it can just put like this pressure on Aran and as well as like the team itself. So they're hoping they can achieve that and tire him out since he has to like move around so much and move certain way and stuff like that. So that's what they're hoping, which is why when Takada was freaking out a little bit about how the team was doing, Ukai was like, no, like let them be, they know what to do, it's fine. And they also bring out our boy Suga, which, oh my gosh, it was hilarious when they brought out Suga because Suga's trying to like cheer up Karasuno, and as he's trying to cheer them up, he kind of like talks about Inarizaki and just the way that the whole team looks at Suga. Like I was like, oh Suga, like why did you have to say that? Like it was so funny, but at the same time I'm like, oh Suga, you got all eyes on you now. It's one of the reasons why I love Suga, because of like his attitude like this, like the things that he says, and like it's so hilarious. I love him so much, and I feel like people should appreciate Suga more. Like, I just love him. And since we're talking about Suga, he's trying his best to make the most of the time that he has on the court. So, Karasuno can get a point and just do what they need to do, which, it is a little bit short-lived. And that's when we also get later on, Inarizaki gets their pinch server, which is Riseki. And he seems to be really nervous, especially because he talks about how he's always been on the bench and stuff. And as he's serving, he goes for like something easy, which then in turn bites him back in the butt, where the Inarizaki cheer squad team is like bullying him. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I remember seeing them, like, why are they booing him? And the reason why, and they explain this in the anime, which Suguro goes into detail about that. He's like, oh man, that sucks. But basically, they boo people on their team too, like not just their opponent, but the people on their team, if they do things a little too easy and basically don't take the risk that they need to. So basically, if they chicken out, they get booed like that. No, like that's horrible. And that's why you get the shot of like Yamaguchi and Konoshita just like, oof, like just them being like afraid. I'm like, oh man, like I'm pretty sure that they're both glad that they're not on Inarizaki's team. Like, man, that's gotta be rough. And then that's when you get like this moment with Kita, which I was so happy to hear him talk. And he basically tells Riseki how they don't need people who can do like easy things. And I'm just like, oof, like that's gotta hurt for Riseki, but I'm pretty sure he also knows that, he should have taken the risk and not just tried to, get a point and stuff like that, which is also another thing that Kita said, like, it doesn't matter if we have the lead or not, like, do what you need to do. Don't chicken out, basically. You have to put like your all if you're gonna be out on the court. So after that, we also get these super nicely animated serves from Kageyama. Oh my god, they were so beautiful. And I saw someone on Twitter compare it to how like Oikawa serves, which I was like, oh my gosh, like that's like even better. Like this just makes like this whole scene like 10 times better. But anyway, like it was so nicely done. And that's when we get Hinata saying, oh, it's calm Kageyama. And everyone's like, what? Like Tanaka's like, what are you talking about? And basically what Hinata says is that this is basically Kageyama at his top form. And I'm like, yeah, I see that. Like, it's just so amazing how Production IG animated this. Like, it was this one and like a few other ones where I was just like so blown away. And again, I had to like rewatch these just because of like how amazingly beautifully done they were. Like, I just cannot praise Production IG enough for these serves that they animated with Kageyama, as well as Aran's. Like, it was just so nicely done. And on top of that, like, Kageyama is a beast too. Like, he is amazing. He's like in his, like I said, like Hinata was saying, he's in his top form. And I was just like, man, like, who let Kageyama be this pretty and this great, man? Like, it was so great. Like, I'm pretty sure like all the Kageyama stans are like super happy about that. And because Kageyama is doing so well, it ends up turning to Inarizaki making more mistakes, and we start to see that Aran is getting pressure now. Like, he's starting to make mistakes, which in turn starts to make like these little mistakes and starts piling on, and you start to see or kind of feel like the atmosphere with Inarizaki, like they're trying to rush things, and it just gets a little bit chaotic. I remember feeling like a little bit like, oh my gosh, this is a little too much like at the moment. And since all of this is happening and they're making mistakes and they're trying to calm themselves down, but clearly they can't, which is when we get Kita. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh, Kita. He's here. His moment is finally here. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So I love how when, Inarizaki's kind of like flipping out and trying to like get themselves to get together and calm down, Kita like slams his little number down, and just the atmosphere immediately changes. Like, they hear that and then they see Kita and everyone's mood just like, oh shit. Like, oh no. And I am just so curious to see and hear like the anime only's thoughts on Kita. Like, I'm just like, I've seen a few people like looking at reactions about Kita, and what I'm seeing is it's great. It's great. And I can't wait for people to meet Kita. I can't wait for you anime onlys to finally meet my boy Kita. There's a reason why the Kita stans are gushing about him. And us Inarizaki stans like love him so much. I love him so dearly, but at the same time, I know what's coming pretty soon. I'm like, we're at, like, the next episode is called Leader, and oh my gosh, I can't say too much, obviously, but just prepare for some good Kita content, and you anime onlys are gonna fall in love with my boy. He is best boy. I feel like I say that a lot with all of the Inarizaki boys, but they all are. Also, I'm like a freaking Inarizaki stan. What did you expect out of me? Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to gush more about Kita in the next episode. Yeah, anyways, I'll end it there before like I start gushing about Kita and like spilling the beans about him. But I'm so excited for next week's episode. So excited. It's one of the things that I was like looking forward to the most in the manga is Kita. Kita is just, again, I shall say my piece about Kita in next week's episode, which I guess concludes everything I really have to say for this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my overall thoughts about this episode as a manga reader. Like, the Inarizaki match is one of the ones I've been just waiting so long to see animated, and it's been so satisfying to see it animated. Like, it's been great, and I can't wait for next week's episode and to gush about Kita. Just expect me to like gush about my boy. So without further ado, I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy out there. Stay safe, please, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.